as a humanitarian, spiritual leader, and peacemaker globally. In 1981, Gurudev established the Art of Living Foundation, one of the largest volunteer-based organizations in the world. In 1997, he founded the International Association for Human Values. These organizations present in 180 countries have served millions of people from every religion, every class, every culture through service projects and programs for personal development to help overcome stress and achieve well-being. I would like to invite Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar to the stage for his address.
Thank you so much. Nice to be with you all here in this Faith Pavilion of United Nations. As you all know, faith plays a very important role in motivating people to walk the path of righteousness and to care for environment. Policies can be made, but to implement the policies, you need the grassroots level being more aware of it. And here, the faith-based organization can make a big difference. That's what we did in India. With the public and private partnership, we rejuvenated 70 rivers. And these rivers were just on the revenue records, and sand mafias were just exploiting the place. And there was no water. Water scarcity was there. And when there is water scarcity, crops are not there. So farmers were suffering. You must have heard in the news a lot about how so many farmers were committing suicide. So here we went to the grassroots villages and then motivated people to do ground recharge wells so that the water could seep in and they could see that the rivers and water body, thousands of water bodies were recharged, rejuvenated. And these rivers, which were just on the paper, there was no water. Today, you see the 70-odd rivers are flowing water perennial. There was one more reason we found that the cause for this is planting trees which at the source of the rivers, which would simply drain the groundwater. Like acacia, for example, one tree, which is not indigenous to India. Just to make a green revolution, a few of the so-called scientists or enthused people they brought acacia from Australia and planted them everywhere. No doubt the acacia grew very fast and we saw lots of greenery, but result was not a single bird would sit on an acacia tree. No grass will grow under the acacia tree, and the rivers started dying out. So what we did is we replanted them. Actually, we replaced these acacia and other, we call bubble, I don't know what the name that's called. It's a thorny branches which were brought from Siberia to India. These trees were removed. Instead, we put peepal, mango, and other the trees which were indigenous to those places. The miracle was the river started flowing back again. Birds started coming. It would attract the clouds. Big change happened. Last May, 1,000 farmers from the same region, Vidarbha, where they were all getting suicide, these people came to Bangalore, which is about 1,200 kilometers away on the plane, just to say thank you. The first time ever they went on a plane, and then they were producing 4 times, they were earning 4 times more, growing things in a natural farming style. Natural farming is without any chemicals or fertilizers. So these are some of the big success stories, I would say. 19,500 villages got benefited just in less than 2 years of time. So we need to care for water. We need to care for the planet Earth and see how we are contaminating the earth, the soil, and biodiversity is at risk. Though cultures and ancient traditions all over the world honor nature, in India we honor the water, we honor the rivers, the mountains. It's all very sacred. But sacred means it's just in a sort of concept, but people don't know how to preserve it, how to make it better. So with the waste of water through harmful chemicals and, those detergents that people use are being replaced by herbal products, herbal things. This again is keeping the water more purer. As I said earlier, policies are made by government. Say no to plastic, be environmental friendly. But as you know, people they like to violate the laws more than the following, especially when they are stressed out. It's the mind which is very, very important in addressing the most important issues in life. If 1 in every 3 person is depressed on our planet, how would we expect the world to be a better place? Every 40-second, 1 person is committing suicide, according to World Health Organization report. And post-pandemic, the depression has taken over the world. It's going to be the biggest challenge. Mental health has been the biggest challenge. In America alone, every day, 2.9 mass shootings are happening. And we see the violence around the world. When a person is depressed, he doesn't even care for himself or herself, doesn't take care of themselves. Forget about them caring for the planet, for others, for environment. So I feel if we don't address the mental health issue, anything we do will just is a waste, will go away, unnoticed, unimplemented. So to implement any principle, any policy to save our planet Earth, we should not neglect the mental health of our planet, which is the biggest challenge for now. So when a person is clear, free from stress, he becomes sensitive and he or she is caring and sharing. They have commitment. A depressed person has neither commitment, nor vision, nor compassion, none of these qualities. I would say here the faith-based organization can play a very big role in attending to the mental health of people, in inspiring them and motivating them to take up projects which would protect our planet or protect our environment. And on this, there is one more aspect that we need to know here. I have traveled widely around the world, also in India. When I go into the tribal areas, whether it is in Africa, in the Masai Mara community, or in Indian villages, or even when you go to remote places of Canada, I have found the Aboriginal people or the tribals, they are much better in, conservation. They see, they don't use so much plastic, they don't litter around. There is certain sense of sacredness when it comes to nature, which seems to be missing in metropolitan cities, in bigger cities, and so-called educated population doesn't seem to be following it. So there is something we need to learn from these people also. They know how to preserve. Like the animals, they preserve the forests in a perfect manner, you know. You can't find any rubbish lying in the forest. Animals do take care of them. So does people who are close to nature. They honor the nature, they worship the nature, and they really can see the preserve the purity of nature. We have seen in India, in the name of worshipping the rivers, they would throw a lot of plastic, garments, clothes, everything into river. So we created a awareness campaign for them to not to do so, and we were successful to great extent. I would here like to also inform one practice that was being done in Nepal, in a particular temple. There, people had this belief that they need to sacrifice 5 birds, every family. So at a particular time in the course of year, in the month of August or so, like thousands, hundreds and thousands of birds were shot down. So I had approached the priests there and leaders and brought them, and we had dialogue, spoke to them. To make the story short, you know, that practice was stopped. Since last 4 years, no more sacrifice of any birds, but in fact, they started feeding the birds. So these are the reforms that we need to bring, and these are the, I think, the way to motivate our people to care for our planet. If you have some questions, I would like to take it from there. Yes.
With the work that you have done protecting watersheds, what lessons can be shared outside of India? Because there are so many places around the world. With the lessons that you have shared and your experience in protecting the watersheds in India, what lessons can be learned and shared in other places that face water scarcity?
Yes, first of all, we need to see what type of trees are being planted on the river banks, number one. If those trees which would drain the water and doesn't contribute to rain, we need to replace them. We need to see that indigenous trees should be put, the trees which are local, natural to that area, number one. Second is we need to do survey of the land and do recharge wells, so that when the rainwater comes, it seeps into the soil. This is a big issue that, we have plenty of rain is there, but the water goes away, it doesn't seep into that. So we have done close to 1 million recharge wells in all these different areas. So, and that is not a very big thing, it can be done with the people's participation local. They would come and do. And a third thing is to see the path of river is free from encroachment. Land is so valuable. The moment there is no river flowing, it's dry for about a decade or two, what happens is people start encroaching on them. Then the fourth thing is the sand mafia. Sand is a commodity, and people would come and take the sand away, and that is something that one need to prevent. And it's a big task, I tell you. Yeah.
I appreciated your example at the end in Nepal. I've been in Nepal many times, and it shows the conflicts that can arise between culture and environment when we have an increasing population. Often we're focusing so much on the conflict between industry and environment, but of course between culture and environment, we want to preserve both. And I'm amazed that we can find solutions like you did. Do you have any general lessons out of that? I'm sure it was difficult to take the step beyond the cultural practice of sacrificing the birds to change that into another practice. Do you have any kinds of general insights of how we can go about supporting transitions like that that don't lose the cultural basis, don't lose the importance of the faith basis that we have, but still support the transition to more protective and interact with the environment?
You know, many of these practices are not found in the scriptures. It is just people's own, tradition, or you can say a habit that they started. So suppose you want to eat something and you say God likes that, and you start doing it. So when we give them, there is no scriptural evidence that the Mother Divine is so all full of compassion and she doesn't want you to sacrifice the birds, and this is what you should do. And that makes a big difference. We need to go to them through their own tradition and say, hey, look, your tradition says honor the river. Honor the river doesn't mean you put clothes into the river. Or you put things which are not naturally soluble. That makes sense to them a lot. Yes.
Hi, thank you very much for sharing your insights. I just wanted to ask, you're a man who believes in interfaith collaboration, and I wanted to ask you, what do you see as the potential for different faiths working together, and what do you see as the role of faith leaders on climate in this situation that we're now facing?
Yes. This is it's a two question in one you have asked me, actually. Faith leaders, as I said, play an important role. They can inspire people, and when people take things more seriously, when faith leaders give a call to do something, some action. Interfaith dialogue is also very, very important. This is where people's mindset, becomes more civilized. I would use the word civilized. Sorry for that, for lack of any other words. Otherwise, if someone thinks only I go to heaven, everybody else will go to hell, they'll create hell for everyone else. So we need to give them an understanding. God loves diversity. The planet, otherwise the planet won't be diverse. I tell them, look, God has not created just even one type of potatoes. There are 3,000 types of potatoes. And there are so many fauna and flora. And embrace the diversity. I also give them another example, usually is, see, you have no restriction in accepting food from every part of the world, music from every part of the world, or, for example, technology from any part of the world. But why wisdom you put a block? The fear and guilt in people's mind, oh, maybe I will be not loyal to my faith if I just read something. I said, we must know a little bit about all the faiths. There are 10 faiths mainly on the planet. So little bit understanding about everything will make you feel at home with everything. When you feel some faith is very foreign to you or not part of you, then you put a block. Then you don't have the sense of belongingness with everybody. Then, in the mind you create a barrier which is man-made, which is false. So I say there was only one Jesus Christ. Today there are 72 sects of Christianity. There was only one Prophet Muhammad. There are 134 sects of Islam. There was only one Lord Buddha. 36, sects of Buddhism are there. And in Hinduism, you can't even count. There are so many different, because it's just a way of life from so many days. What I would say is, embrace, honor everybody, strengthen your roots. You go into your roots, but shake hands with every other faith. For the whole world is one family. I believe the globe is just one family, and taking contentious issues and fighting over it is simply a not intelligent thing to do. You know, that realization life is short, and we need to coexist. We need to love each other and cooperate with each other, is what rings well in minds of people. You simply have to talk to them on that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we don't have time for any more questions, but we would like to thank you so much for coming
Thank
to the
you.
Faith
Thank you
Pavilion,
all very much.
Gurudev. Thank you so much.